Sitting on the dock of the bay, I'm just sitting on the dock of the bay, sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Wasting time. Doing time, killing time. I'm just being. Where time pays little concern in my mind. I'm just here. And then I'm somewhere else, and then I'm somewhere else. But I'm always present, you see. And so when you're present, and when you observe in everything, you see now, I'm sitting here and I'm observing the ripples on this water. And I'll sit here and I'll just watch that. And I'll laugh. And I'll cast my gaze around to other facets of it, and I'll hone in to different facets, like the light flashing from it. Some places it's smooth, some places it's turbulent. The ripples are coming in a hypnotic sort of trance-like way, hypnotising me as I gaze upon it. And so you can see, by looking at something which most people would consider to be very mundane, you can derive a lot of pleasure out of it. It's very soothing and hypnotic. I'm still making videos, evidently, but I'm not putting them up. I'm going to be moving to another platform, and I guess by the time you see this video, I would already be on that platform. But there's going to be some changes. I'm not sure what I'm morphing into. But after 5 years on this trajectory, there's now a change which is imminent. And I don't know whether that change is going to be taking me away from my incessant philosophizing and introspecting. I don't think it is. I'm just going to be doing it in a different area, under different prevailing circumstances. Every second day I speak with Paul, usually for about an hour, and many occasions I wish that you could be privy to these conversations, because you could derive probably a great deal from what we discuss. You see, you get a far more in-depth picture of what I'm doing, what I'm about, what I'm experiencing. You see, at the end of the day, people and friends, my videos are about, they're kind of like Mien Kampf. You know, Hitler's book. Mien Kampf means my struggle. And I think we all have a Mien Kampf that we could write about, don't we? And so one day I might write my own Mien Kampf and entitle it just that. Always like a bit of controversy. See, very few people would know what Mien Kampf meant, save for German-speaking people, and people maybe who have read Mien Kampf. But we all have a struggle to a more or lesser degree, and people find people's struggle and strife interesting because they can make certain relations to it. due to the nature of our own struggle, you see. And because my struggle is depicted over many lands and in different environments, and I speak about many different encounters, then that's what makes it interesting. So in recent times, since I put up the last video, which states that I'm done with making videos, I've had the greatest response to that video. Isn't it curious, people? It's all very perplexing. People that have never ever made a comment before, they finally make a comment when I've left. And so you can only wonder. But lots of people have said lots of nice things. And I have to make certain realizations that there's only one of me. There's only one of you. And I think individually, our ideal world, our individual utopias would be that we project our whole world onto everybody else, and everybody else lives in compliance with how we like to live. Then we could find utopia, you see. But it isn't like that, and we're all different. And so I've been learning whilst I've been looking at myself, and whilst I've been making certain observations about how my platforms are received. And, you know, I have to make certain conclusions that there has to be room for a whole vast array of perspectives and opinions, because few people, more than I am experiencing now, realise the magnitude of our own subjectivity. And so when I continue to do what I do, I'll be bearing this in mind, and I won't be looking for any response. It really is of no consequence. What is nice is that people say, I appreciate what you do, and I derive something out of what you do. That's all really I need to know. I don't need to know your opinions or your perspectives, because invariably it's going to be different and contradictory. And so, you know, we could go to and fro about this and that in a big debate, like we see debates on YouTube all the time. And at the end of each debate, nobody has changed the way they feel. And so you can see that it's entirely superfluous. I was listening to a debate which had Jordan Peterson and Stephen Fry on one side, and then there was a black African preacher and some other woman whom I didn't know what she did on the other side. And they were talking about, of course, Peterson and Fry are contesting political correctness and postmodernism and all this sort of thing. And on the other side, the black preacher, he was vocalising the classic postmodernist stance of white privilege. You know, on the basis of that, if you're a black person and you consider that white people have had white privilege, then how is that ever going to change? How is anybody going to overcome that? White people are white people, and if you consider they've got this white privilege because of their whiteness, then that ain't ever going to change, is it? They're always going to be white, so as far as you're concerned, they're always going to be privileged. You see, it's preposterous. White people are still paying now for colonialism, for slavery, and all this sort of thing. When you look into the history of slavery, it was the ethnicity that brought around slavery. It was the Africans who offered their captive warring tribesmen for exchange. It was the Africans who invented slavery. They said, listen, what have you got to swap? We've got men and women. We can round those up all day long. And they did. And then you'll find that the Arabs had a great involvement in it, the Jews had a great involvement in it. In actual fact, slavery has been prolific through every creed, on every continent on this planet. And to blame it on white people now is preposterous. So, I digressed a little, but what I'm saying here is, people, that debate doesn't serve any purpose. It really doesn't. I've never ever seen any debate where anybody's gone, oh, I get it now, I see, I was wrong, you're right, I'll come over into your camp. Never ever seen it. So what's the point of it? And in the audience of this particular debate, when Peterson or Fry said something, there was X amount of people clapping. And then when the black preacher, he was saying something, then there was X amount of people clapping. And it all seemed very even Stevens. And so 50% was up for postmodernism and 50% were up for the obliteration of political correctness. What do? You just have to live with it. People are just people. And so at some stage, we really have to give up the ghost on ever trying to change anything. Nothing will ever be changed, save from ground roots. The only changes that have come about is your programming, your indoctrination from a very young age. And so if this world is going to change, for the better, hopefully, then it has to start at grassroots. There's no point in trying to bring this change around with people who are long in the tooth. And just like famous philosophers and scientists have said, the new paradigm will come around with the death of the old one, i.e. the paradigm shift comes in the shape of a coffin. And so when the old belief system dies, that's when it gives rise to a new belief system. So I'm going to be continuing to making videos, and I'm going to be having some variants. I've no idea what I'm going to be doing or where I'm going to be going. Probably by the time you see this video, I have chosen somewhere. But until then I will continue in this abyss, in this wilderness, in the blissness. I said to Paul the other day, the difficulty being, you see, I've been beguiled. What have I been beguiled by? I've been beguiled by the sun blessing my body. Because when the sun blesses one's body, it stimulates the mind into a very positive arena. It makes the whole body and mind feel great. So you get a holistic health. To move out from under the sun is a very daunting thing indeed. To go back into the matrix from having this level of freedom, which I've had for a long time now, is a very difficult thing to contemplate. But I've had a good run. I've had 12 years, and at a stretch I could probably do it for another 2 years, but then I would find myself in a very compromising situation whereby my options will be very limited. So now what I have to do, I have to put to practice some of the knowledge and wisdom that I've acquired along my journey, whether it is with some sort of platform on my private internet site or YouTube or writing a book or all three, something of that nature, or engaging in conversations with other people about the things that go on in this world. Not debates, because we wouldn't be coming from opposing perspectives, because that's a waste of time really, as I've stated. But if you are coming from the same camp, then if you have a similar background and if you have a similar outlook and a similar objective in what you want to achieve from the conversation, then it can be fruitful, you see. and it can be fruitful for people who are similar of mind. If they're not similar of mind, then they won't get anything from it. And so I'm not trying to attract those sort of people. You see, I've always said I want like-minded people, because I don't want altercation, I don't want confrontation, I don't want trolls and people projecting their egos. I want a happy family, you know. I've learnt certain things in my life, and I want to share those with other like-minded people who have had similar experience and who are similarly inclined to share their experience. And so when the time is right, I'll be announcing what I'm going to do, and I'll do it, and I guess I'll be seeing some of you there.